Yo, what is up guys? It's your buddy Aaron here. Welcome back to another G35 video. Making this video because I need to clarify a whole bunch of things like about the G35. Gotta figure out what's going on with it. Gotta answer a lot of you guys' questions. And I'm super sorry about this disgusting mane I got all over my freaking head here because this quarantine just got us doing some really weird shit. So anyway, as far as what we are gonna be doing today, I got somebody rolling by super slowly right now. Like I guess they're checking out houses. I'm gonna fucking put them on full blast right now. What's good? Yeah, I see you. Boy over here fucking twisting his mustache and shit. What the fuck? No, I'm gonna freaking cut all this off like tomorrow. My barber is finally back where he's at, and I'm finally gonna get a nice little haircut. Probably be wearing the mask and everything. Just you know, cut my. What is this? Like, what is this, bro? I don't even know. Anyway, so to answer you guys a question about what's going on with the G, guys, I'm pretty sure I blew it up. I mean, just listen to it. I haven't started it since I got it off of the trailer. Since we came back, I'm super white right now. Man, this quarantine's really doing me dirty right now. Pretty much when we heard this thing knocking, this thing pretty much has not run it since we've heard it knocking. Since we brought it back, just taking it off of the trailer, bringing it back in here. I got this little clip of the engine pretty much knocking. I'm pretty sure that the engine is blown, but we really don't know yet until we properly diagnose the car. And in order to diagnose it, what we're gonna be doing is pretty much taking out all the spark plugs, all of the ignition coils. I'm gonna be taking out the intake, and man, I really left a mess of coolant over here. No wonder why I freaking spun a bearing. There was like no coolant in this thing because I guess in my setup when I was, you know, with this wine bottle over here, you know, drifting the vehicle left and right. This thing is like splashing everywhere. Some air gets in the system and boom, that's it. It's overheated. So I learned my lesson, and it sucks that I have to learn it this hard way. But the better side of looking at things is that with cars, you can always fix it. You know, you can't fix your life if you hurt yourself and stuff like that. I mean, it's tough. It's way more tough. But with cars, you can always just fix it. So I try not to take it super like hard, even though I spent the last 6 months after breaking my back in an accident, rebuilding this freaking car, and the day after I tune it. One day, it fucking blows. It's all good, guys. Anyway, we're gonna figure out what's going on because as you guys saw the last video, we went and picked up a motor up in PA for my buddy. He's gonna be giving me his old motor, which is still in great shape, which I would love to build that. I wanna learn more about the block itself. I wanna build it. I wanna bore the engine. I wanna do everything right. I wanna get rods and pistons, and I just wanna do everything right and slap a blower on this thing and make it fucking do over 500 horsepower. That would be amazing. This is one of the worst and most expensive and most annoying cars to build because these VQ DEs, they really don't make that much power of them. It's like, dude, just throw a HR in there, dude. Just throw a 2J. Just throw a freaking LS, man. An LS is like 500 bucks, man. Go pick one up, and you'll double the power NA. But I really fell in love with this fucking piece of shit motor, and I'm just gonna keep going with it. Plus, if I'm getting a free motor, why not learn from it? Buy some rods and pistons and just build it and put it in here. With this motor, a lot of people are asking me, yo, with your rod knocking motor, are you gonna sell it? What are you gonna do? What I'm gonna do, I purchased some King Racing bearings. If this is what is wrong with the car, I'm gonna go ahead and replace pretty much the rod bearings with these King Race bearings. So it's probably not a really good idea to do that because it eventually will probably blow again. So I mean, I'm not really blowing the car, I'm kind of just spinning bearings, and I feel like I caught it super early, and so the only way for us to really check if I caught it early and if we can replace just the bearings and let it run, let it break in a little bit, is if we pretty much tear down the lower brakes. We have to tear down the upper oil pan, lower and upper oil pan, and take a look at the old bearings. What we're going to do is unbolt like the lower portion of what's holding the crankshaft in, and we're going to take off all of the lower connecting rod bearings pretty much, and take a look at them and measure them and see what, you know, if they're in spec. Obviously they're not going to be in spec because they're spun and knocking, but and then we're going to take a look at the crankshaft and see if the crankshaft itself is actually savable, because we don't know. If it's smooth, we can just put some new bearings on there. Technically will be okay, but it won't last forever. It will eventually, you know, maybe catch up with it if there's a little bit of marks on the crankshaft. We're just gonna see. Why not throw some bearings in there and send it if we're gonna have another motor on the side anyway that we're gonna have a lot of fun with and build for boost and build something that's gonna be actually meant to hold this power. And a lot of the parts that we put into this motor, like the heads, are just fine. The cams, the seals, the springs, everything like that's brand new. So So we'd be able to just take the heads off of here and put it on the new motor. So that's the plans pretty much. So in this video, you know, I like to test compression. I like to drop the lower oil pan and see if there's any metal shavings in there. And I'd also like to give a nice tap on each piston as it is going down on the intake stroke, so that we can see if we hear any of the bearings out of place and knocking. And so yeah, we're gonna see what we can do. So I've never done this before in my life, like diagnose a car for this before, but I did a lot of research online and I've seen different ways people can figure it out. It's pretty simple and it's really interesting when you just put 2 and 2 together and just dive right into it. So the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is a compression test. We're gonna give it compression, see each cylinder, see if they're okay. Just for the heck of it, why not? So in order to complete the jeez, stepping over everything. So in order to complete the compression test in these VQs, we're gonna pretty much want to remove this piece of the cowl so that we can get to the fuse box that is underneath that cowl. Remove this cover right here, and we're gonna be pulling fuse number 81, which is this top 15 amp fuse, and that will disable our fuel pump. With our fuel disabled, we're also going to want to be disabling our ignition, and we're going to have to pull all of the spark plugs and ignition coils out anyway. So we're going to go ahead and remove our intake, pull out all the plugs and the coils, and make sure our plugs are all disconnected from the harness. That will ensure that our ignition system is disabled. And then we're going to grab our compression tester and put it inside each cylinder. And it is cold right now. It's been cold for a while, but we're going to try and crank the car. There may still be some fuel left in there, so it may turn over a little bit, but it will eventually just only allow us to crank it. So at that point, we're going to be pretty much testing every cylinder for about 5 seconds on the compression tester and seeing what it will read. Like I said, the engine is cold right now, hasn't ran in a while, so the readings may be a little bit lower than normal. And if they're too low, what we can do is actually spray a little bit of oil inside of the cylinder, and if it reads higher, that's how we know we have worn piston rings. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the intake and the ignition coils and spark plugs right now. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright guys, check it out. So I got pretty much everything removed that I just told you guys I was going to remove. So I was taking a look, I was trying to see if these little Honda spark plug tube seals worked out, because I did make that video on pretty much replacing the tube seals that are in these valve covers with some Honda ones. Looks like we're doing really good on about 5 of the cylinders, but when we come over here to this last one, a little hard to show you. Let me get that line out the way. If you guys can see, it is like super oily, and it has so much oil in there that I have to get out, and it looks a little milky, but I think it's only milky because of the like anti-seize that was in there from the spark plug, and that was also on top of the it pretty much comes on the ignition coils. So I'm gonna try and clean all that out. It's definitely leaking from the spark plug tube seal, which I actually can repair. I mean, all the other ones are holding up really good. None of them had problems, but this one was a little tough to take out the tube seal because there was a bunch of oil that was going in there. So yeah, I gotta clean all that out before I can pull that spark plug. I don't want all that oil going into that cylinder. So yep, let me go ahead and see if I can dry that out. I'm just gonna put some mushed like paper towel in there and try to soak it all up, and then we can get to our compression test. All right guys, you guys can see I got all of these spark plugs and the ignition coils taken out of the G35 engine. You guys can see I did take out that 15 amp fuse for the fuel pump, so the fuel pump does not run. I also do have our compression test hooked up to cylinder 1 right now, so we're gonna go ahead and test cylinder 1. Hopefully we're okay. Yo, for a cold engine, that is not bad at all. Reading over 180 on cylinder 1, that is freaking awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and relieve the pressure in the cylinder, and then we're gonna go ahead and move on over to cylinder 2. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing that on the rest of the cylinders. We're gonna double check, make sure they're all doing really good as far as compression. Hopefully they are, and then I'm gonna check back with you guys real shortly. Alright guys, check it out. So really good news on the G35's engine. We're getting pretty much 180 to 210 compression all throughout all of the cylinders, 1 through 6, and that's really, really good considering that the engine is still cold right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and correct myself right here, because later on I did find out that it is not okay for any 2 cylinders to have more than a maximum of 14 PSI difference between the cylinders. And here I may have a good 20 or more PSI of difference in my cylinders. If I do replace the rod bearings, I'm gonna go ahead and perform another compression test just to be sure and see if there's any difference. So that's awesome. We are checked off as far as compression. You know, that kind of lets us know that the head gasket is okay, and that all of the cylinders are holding air very well, and that the piston rings are not as worn. So that's really good. So really the next thing for me to do before we go ahead and drop the lower oil pan, see if there's any shavings in there, that'll really tell us, you know, how far or how bad we are into a blown motor, I guess. So what I'm gonna be doing is pretty much rotating the crankshaft so that we can have downstroke on each piston, and then while we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and tap the piston and see if it's solid or if it actually moves down a little bit. And if it moves down, that means there is gaps in between the piston rod bearings connecting to the crankshaft. This is what I pretty much think is wrong with the car, and doing this will pretty much verify which cylinders have the rod knock. So let's go ahead and we're gonna start with cylinder 1. I'm gonna put a screwdriver in there. We're gonna rotate the crankshaft and wait till the screwdriver starts going down. That'll let us know that we're going down on the intake stroke, and then we can try to push that cylinder down even some more. If it's solid, we're okay. If it moves even slightly, then we know we got some play in there. Take a look, guys. So I do have a screwdriver chilling out right here in cylinder 1. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the crankshaft a little bit. You're gonna see it kind of go up and then start eventually going down a little bit. Once it starts going down, that's how we know we are going down on our compression stroke, and we can actually try and push it down a little more and see if it moves. No, that one is solid for sure. So I'm gonna start using this method on pretty much all of the cylinders. While it's going down on the compression stroke, I'm gonna just lightly press on this and see if I feel any play in there. And if I don't feel play in any of the cylinders, then I'm gonna start hitting it with a hammer and see if I hear a difference in the noise between each one. So let's hear what it sounds like on this one. So we're gonna go back up on the compression stroke and then back down. And I'm gonna use a rubber mallet, so if we hear any noise, it's not gonna be coming, you know, from the top where I'm banging on it. It's gonna be coming from the piston kind of slapping on the crankshaft. And there was no noise there. I'm gonna go ahead and use this method with the rest of the cylinders, and I'm gonna report back to you guys in just a second. Yo guys, so I knew I was gonna find this. All right, so yeah, it's definitely rod knock. It's for sure rod knock. So cylinders 1 through 4, perfect, nice and tight, everything's cool. Cylinder 5, knocking. There's definitely some room in there. So check it out. I have it on the downstroke compression right now. I'm gonna go ahead and move this. You're gonna hear it. Listen. I don't know if you guys heard it, but it's there. Okay, so I'm gonna come back up on the compression stroke. We're gonna go back down. And listen. You heard that? Yo, you definitely heard that one. Yep. So it's kind of coincidental, but before I went and tuned it and drifted it, I did replace the lower oil pan, and with that I bought a Z1 Motorsports drain plug that has a magnet on it. And so when we pull that magnet, that drain plug, when we're draining the oil, we're gonna get a good look at the oil, of course, see if it's milky and whatnot. But we're also gonna get a good look at that magnet and see if there is any metal shavings, you know, on there. Being that we did spin cylinder number 5 rod bearing, it could be kind of disintegrated and some pieces of it could be in there. So luckily, when we did hear the knock, we were able to turn off the engine fairly soon before anything else, like the knock, got worse. But I think we might be able to save it. I really don't know. 1 through 4 is solid and 6 is solid. Number 5 is the only one that spun so far. We're gonna get a better look at it once we dive into it, but let's go ahead and drain the oil, see what the oil looks like, and see if we got any metal shavings on that drain plug. So if you guys have the luxury of having a garage, you guys should definitely invest in one of these things. Literally picked it up for 25 bucks from Harbor Freight. This is gonna make our life so much easier when getting under this car. So I went ahead and jacked up the G35. We got it up pretty high so that I got some room under here, because we are going to be needing to remove the whole subframe brace and all that stuff, probably in the next video when I attempt to fix this rod knock. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and finish up this video just by pulling the drain plug, and we're going to hopefully see no metal shavings, or, I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping there are none. If there's a little bit, then we're going to have to tear it all down and see what kind of damage we did to the crankshaft. But for now, I mean, only cylinder 5 is what is knocking, so I'm very thankful for that, and hopefully it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and pull off this magnetic drain plug and see if there's any shavings on it. Let's go. Uh-oh. We got a little bit. Definitely got a little bit. You guys see all that? There's definitely some metal shavings on this right here, but they're really tiny. And it's also really gunky. Oh yeah, there's for sure shavings on here. Uh-oh. 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 The oil looks, you know, like normal oil color, and we got good compression, so we know we don't have a blown head gasket. It's coming out, you know, like black, like normal synthetic oil should when it's a little dirty. And I don't see any major chunks coming out of it at all. I'm watching this as it goes down. So this is magnetic, and so is my little my washing machine here, so you guys can see all the metal kind of poking through there. It's really not a whole lot, but it's definitely not good. This could be part of those, you know, the rod bearings failing. Definitely hoping it's not part of the crank. But this just kind of gives you an idea of exactly what we're dealing with here. The oil looks fairly clean. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can get that lower oil pan off and see exactly what we're dealing with here. Yeah guys, check it out. So you can definitely see that there is a little bit of those brass shavings left in here. Definitely some chunks in here. That's for sure that rod bearing. Look at all those chunks right here. Oh shoot. So I really don't even know what to say right now, guys. That is quite a lot of metal shavings. I mean, it's not, you know, a whole bunch, and the chunks aren't huge. If I wanted to be positive about this whole thing, we really won't know, you know, what the crank looks like until we take off the bad rod bearings and see, get a good look at the crank. So that's what we're gonna be doing in the next video. So stay tuned. I'm gonna be working on that tomorrow. Got another day off tomorrow, so I'm gonna try and knock that out. And if we can install new rod bearings, then we should, I don't know, it's probably gonna blow up again, but maybe we can save it for a couple months. We'll see, we gotta see what that crank looks like. So anyways guys, I just gotta give you guys a huge shout out. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. Appreciate you guys for your love and your support on this build. Super unfortunate that literally the day after we tuned it, we got rod knocked on it, but I never built the bottom end, and I probably should have while I had the car out. But when it comes to funds and time, and I really wanted to get this thing together as far as an NA build, you know, shit happens. So that's what we got. Hopefully we can replace these and fix our rod knock temporarily or forever. I don't even know. We'll see. We'll see, because I definitely want to fully send it again on this motor, and we don't know what's going to happen until we actually do it. So I want to fully send it on this because we do have another motor coming that I would love to build on the side for you guys and have a nice little, you know, boosted build, go back into the G35, get a nice Pro Charger setup or something like that. It would be sick. But that's going to be in the future, probably the near future. But let's see what we can do as far as trying to fix this thing up. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you smash that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of more G35 content that's going to be coming your way. Maybe you guys can learn a thing or two, like I'm learning like a thing or 7. So for real guys, if you guys want to support this build and also be a proud owner of some really cool G35 merch, head over to AASupply.com. We're running coupon code HOMIEHOOKUP for 20% off of all of the merch. Get you a nice little jet tag or a nice air freshener, dope hoodie, even though it's starting to get hot now. But you can pick up a nice t-shirt too if you want. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Can we save it? I don't know.